do you grab people's attention at craft fairs? This is something that we all want to be able to achieve because we want to stop those people from just walking by. But how do we grab them without being too in your face? My name's Becky and my business is Retro from Scratch. I recycle old books and give them a new lease of life in the form of notebooks. And I also run lots of craft workshops and teach people how to craft. And over the last 20 years, I have either been running my own events or attending events as a trader and a customer, and so I have lots of experience that I want to share with you. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit today all about how to grab attention so that you can get your customers to come over to your stall. But if you are interested, I've actually created a free guide called From Browsers to Buyers, and I've included 7 steps for you to take to help turn those browsers into buyers. Now, getting people's attention, I mean, you could wave your hands frantically in the air and try and grab people, bring them over. I think that's probably going to put people off. So it's kind of finding that happy balance of playing it cool, but equally drawing the people in. Now, the first thing you need to do is make sure you know who your ideal customer is. And this will give you some confidence as to who you speak to and who you don't. Because it is quite tiring being at a craft fair and talking to people, and equally frustrating if once you've had a good chat with somebody, they just turn and walk away. Now, you can't make people buy, and you don't know, they might buy something later on. But as the more and more you do this, you will find that you'll get to know who your ideal customer is. And I actually have an ideal customer form for you to complete in my craft fair success kit. I'll drop a link below. You can buy a copy. It's 76 pages. And what I'm sharing with you today is just a tiny little bit of what you can get in the craft fair success kit. But knowing your ideal customer is huge, because if you know who they are, then you can really work on selling to those people. And then if you kind of know that that person who's standing at your stall isn't your ideal customer, we can kind of move along and save yourself a little bit of time and energy. Now, it's not always obvious. So there are going to be people who need more time to think before they buy. But it really does help when you know who you are selling to. So that's the first thing. The next thing is to have an attractive display. And a really good way of thinking of this is I like to think of a landscape where you've got your mountains and the path that weaves in to the end of the landscape and the sun, and you've got the hills, and you're drawn into that landscape. That is what you want to try and achieve with your display. So you haven't got mountains, but we have got height. You want varied heights, and you want something that is going to bring you in towards perhaps your star item. You're going to have things at the front of your stall, you're going to have things further back, and you're going to have them at different heights. All of this drawing you in and making your stall look attractive. So you don't want things that are overly too big and therefore distract from you. You are part of your product. So when people are at a craft market, if you are in a good position, then people will see you. And if you are not in a good position, then you need to be seen. And we can do this through having height on your displays. Now, one way to do that is a pop-up banner. I really recommend Solo Press. Very affordable, £35 for a pop-up banner that you can design in Canva and send the artwork over. It's very good quality, light and easy to carry, and you can put it up in seconds and it has impact. If you are doing a pop-up banner though, I would really stick to as few words as possible. Keep it all about the images and your branding, your logo, just to really stand out. You will put your website up clear and an image of you or what you do, what you sell, one of your best products. And that's all you really need on the banner, just to grab people's attention and draw them over. When they see a banner, they can't miss it. Then you can think about height on your stall. So height on your stall can be created in a number of ways. I really like using stuff out of IKEA because it's cheap and affordable. And if you're starting out, you don't want to be spending a fortune on things. Also, you can then buy things that you could use elsewhere if you decide that actually you're not going to attend craft fairs anymore. You don't want to fork out on lots of stuff and equipment only to change your mind. So IKEA do a brilliant lap tray. They do a wooden one and they do a white one. And again, you want to think about your branding. So for me, being an eco business, recycling, I've gone for a wooden theme because of the natural, sustainable look. However, I do events in London, and that means being able to travel light. And wooden boxes are heavy, whereas white plastic is light. So I actually have an alternative, and I use white plastic wham boxes and also white plastic racking from IKEA. Again, bathroom racking. It's fantastic. And I use this to help create height on my displays. And it all packs down really, really small and very quickly. And it cost me £9 for 2 pieces of shelving that I can have either side. Now, this is the other thing. You kind of want symmetry. So if your stand is sort of really tall here and then coming down, that's not ideal. The symmetry gives you that balance. So then you are getting people to focus into the centre. You are bringing people in. You can worry about having a banner on the front of your stall. It's always nice to have one as a little bit of extra decoration. But if you're at a busy event, people are going to be standing right in front of it and nobody is going to see it. So it's not your primary focus. Having something behind you or above you perhaps, or on your stall at a good head height is ideal. And so the pop-up banners are really handy for this, or having an A4 stand like poster display which you can put on top of your shelving. So get creative, think about what your brand is about and then how you can use that. So originally I used to use vintage suitcases to display my notebooks. But the problem with that was they are vintage, and after a while they started to get a little bit worn, and then they're harder to replace, and they also were quite flat, like one level. But it was very quick to pack up and leave with these suitcases whilst everyone else was still packing away. We were already on our way home. So you do need to think about what your product is and your branding. For a tablecloth, I actually use a vintage blanket, and it's great because it doesn't actually crease and it has the retro feel to it. And again, attracts people, it draws people in, and it's pink. So my branding colours are pink and green, but I tend to stick with pink and quite a pale light pink. I've kept it subtle so that the products stand out more than my branding does. The other thing, because I've got quite a bit of height, I allow space in the centre of my table for me to stand so that people can see me and I can have a conversation with them. I'm not hiding behind my display, and that's really important because at the end of the day, you are the person who is selling your product, and when they buy your candle or your jewellery, they are buying it because they like it, but because they like you as well. Now, you should have really clear signage, so make sure that you have prices everywhere. Some people will not even want to ask how much something is. They just want to know the price, because if they can't see the price, they've automatically decided it's too expensive for them, even though it could very much well be within their price range. So just put the price on. If it is too expensive, then they are not your ideal customer. and they will move on, and that's absolutely fine. But make sure you've got your prices clearly on display. Now, you can do a sort of menu style board for your pricing. I personally find that quite awkward. It's difficult to work out what the product is and how much it is. I prefer each item to be individually priced, or that, you know, there is a label clearly in front of the items that are for sale. And by all means, if you're going to do offers, then brilliant. They're always great for craft fairs, but just keep it simple. Too complicated and it will put people off. And feel free to add some style to your display. Now, you can do this with props, but don't get too carried away. I used to have a very cute little stand. It was a, let me show you. It was an ornament of a donkey. Here he is. So this is my little donkey ornament. Isn't he cute? And I used to put my business cards, I think it's a salt and pepper holder, but I used to put my business cards on there and have this on the front of my stall because it's vintage books, vintage fairs. I cannot tell you how many people asked me how much the donkey was. And I spent most of my time telling people that he wasn't for sale. And I have seen this time and time again with props that actually become distracting to the product, the thing that you are selling. And that's disheartening for you because at the end of the day, you've put all your love, time, care into making your wonderful product, and nobody's interested in that. They just want the donkey. If you've got like an old camera or something because you're a photographer, that could be distracting. People might want your camera more than they want your photographs or cards, whatever it is you're selling. So just be mindful that your props should not distract the customer away from your product. They should just help to enhance it slightly. The other way to grab attention at craft market with your stall is to have something moving. And, you know, in this modern day and age, technology, people like to watch screens. We're on them all the time. I get it, I know. But if you have got a screen that is moving, this is interesting to people, and it's a brilliant way of showing people what you do behind the scenes. So for me, I can use it to show people how I make the notebooks. So I can also show people behind the scenes at my workshops, so they get a real feel for what to expect and how many people, and they can imagine themselves coming along to my workshops. And I do this using an old iPad. I've got an iPad stand. Again, you can get them from IKEA. The iPad is just a really fun way. You just set it up so that the photos move on a carousel. Now, if you don't want to use an iPad, like I say, mine's an old ancient one, so I'm quite happy to use it. But for security reasons, you might want to use something, either an old, like another make of tablet, or alternatively, you could use a picture photo frame, which is much cheaper and less desirable to get pinched. So that's another idea. I've also noticed that people stand in front of your stall for longer because they're watching what's coming up next. Now, I don't know if you've noticed, but if one person comes over to your stall, you then notice someone else comes over. And there's this whole psychology where basically, if they're looking at your stall, then there must be something good there. So I want to go and look at that stall. And one person can just act like a magnet. Now, a little trick here is if you have come with somebody else, and unfortunately quite often I'm on my own at craft markets, but if you do happen to have a helper with you, then it doesn't hurt for that helper now and then at your craft market to just stand in front of your stall and look like they're browsing and having a look through, particularly if you get a little quiet dead spot. If you do it, it's probably obvious that it's your stall because you'll be tidying and sorting out and things like that. But if you've got one of your helpers to just look like they are shopping, that's a little tip that I would recommend. Now, when it comes to working out how to display your stuff, I really recommend planning your stall. So if at home you can set up a 6-foot table, or for me, I just get on the floor, tape measure, and I work out my 6-foot space, and then I lay everything out. If I am changing the stall layout for an event, even though I've been doing this for years, I will lay out the tape measure and create my stall as if I was doing it at the fair. What I then do is take a photograph. Once I've finished, once I'm happy with the setup and I know where everything's going, I take a picture, and then on the day I can refer back to it. This is a really easy thing to do, and it also allows you to then see, is it a bit lopsided? Do you need to move anything about and change it? But you've also got that thing to refer back to, so you can set up really quickly on the day. And of course, it doesn't hurt to look at other people's stalls. So do some research, go to some craft fairs where you're not trading, or at the ones you are trading at, and have a look at what other people are doing. And don't be afraid to ask them. If you can see how they're displaying, explain what you do and just say, can I ask where you got your stand from? I like a bit of pegboard from IKEA, and I stand it up by using one of the IKEA plate racks that only cost like £2. It's such an easy way to create a very beautiful display that is also very easy to pack away as well. Now, if you would like all of this information in written form, then you'll be happy to know that all of this is in the From Browsers to Buyers freebie that I have created for you. It's 14 pages with 7 tips on how you can turn those browsers into buyers, get them over to your stall, and the display is just one area. I've actually got a sheet for you to actually draw out a visual of how you would like your display, focusing on that landscape setting that we've talked about. So if you would like to get a copy, I've popped the link in the description. I'll pop it in the comments as well. And I hope that you will really find it useful. If any of the information that I provided in this video has struck a chord, then do let me know in the comments. I would love to hear from you. And if there's something that you've got a question, you want to find out a little bit more, and you think I might be able to help, then please ask in the comments below. I would love to help you. I think we all have the ability to be able to sell and have success at craft fairs. It's not always easy, but it's all about playing the game, and once you get there, it's a great place to be. Sometimes it can be unpredictable, but with all of the knowledge that I can give you, I can definitely help you have more success. As soon as I started making these changes, I saw instant progress within my business, and I can help you get that too. So all you need to do is subscribe for more videos like this. And if you want to take it one step further, then you can get my craft fair success kit. It's everything. It's a workbook, it's hints, it's tips, it's everything that I have over 20 years in a document for you to use, to download. I will pop the link in the description below if you would like it. And I hope to see you back here soon for some more craft fair tips. See you then.